Welcome, my name is Colleen Tauke and I'm the sewing specialist at Fons & Porter. In this tutorial we'll talk about the quilt Pretty Posies. In order to download or purchase this pattern, you can go to our website and you'll find everything you need there. What we're going to do is we're going to start with 10-inch squares of some wonderful prints here, and we're going to create this block, the Posy block. So what we're going to do is we're going to I'm going to bring in a rotating mat here because we're going to be cutting in a couple different directions, so it will make it easy for us to cut always in a safe direction. Take these 10-inch blocks and we are going to cut them into 5-inch squares. The great part is then we have all of our matching pieces available to us. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure you're in the right place before you cut. 5-inch there, and then we can just simply rotate. If you're using your mat at home and you don't have a rotating mat, you can use the one like this and just rotate the entire mat. And then you're always cutting in a safe direction. Again, we're going to line up the 5-inch mark along the outer edge here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and cut. And now we have the 4 pieces that are in our block. Now, in order to create these, we're going to work on one at a time. We're going to be using the tool, it's called the Corner Pop by Deb Tucker. And it has a lot of different lines and angles on this. So you want to go through the instructions that either come with our pattern or the ones that come with her actual tool. And that will help us to trim corners in order to create this kind of posy petal is what we want. So what we need to do is cut 2 corners so they'll have a larger triangle on the outside and one that's going to have a small little piece there. So what we're going to do is I have marked this with a highlighting tape so you can see I can slide this right into the corner of my 5-inch block, and I can then just take this corner off and rotate. Let's pull that out just a little so you can see that I've removed that one. I'm going to rotate, do a second one, again lining up the tape right along the outer edge of the block. Take this one away, and you want to make sure that you do it in the right order. So I've got 1, 2, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to now, I've marked for this small, follow the instructions, it'll tell you which marking to use. It's in a different place on the ruler, you'll just have to get familiar with it, but it works great once you've played around with it and figured it out. And we're going to remove this little triangle here. So now we have something that looks like this. Now, we have to replace these corners with the white, you see kind of the background part of our block. And you're going to cut, the instructions have you cut large white squares and smaller ones. And then from each of these, you're going to cut them in half diagonally and create small triangles and larger triangles. So these are now have all become triangles. So we need 2 large ones and a smaller one to go with this. What we're going to do, now this is a little different than our traditional piecing. Usually we're used to having things match up, but we're going to actually have 2 kind of dog ears on each end. You'll notice that these overlay, and they're oversized on purpose so that we can trim them later. So we're going to take this to the sewing machine. So when you lay it on there, it just needs to be centered. It doesn't need to be exact. The great part of this using this tool is that it gets you an exact, precise block in the end, but gives you a little wiggle room in the process. Okay. You'll see that it's seamed across there. And as I open this up, I'm just going to finger press it for you. You'll see that that triangle is extending beyond my print block quite a ways. Okay, if we hit that with the iron just lightly so that it'll lay in place, and we can talk about the trimming part of it. You would go all the way around your block, add one here, large here, a large here, and the small little one here, and then you would come in. You'll have something similar to this one. I've already trimmed a couple of sides. We're going back to that tool that we had. It has more lines on it. It now has diagonal lines over here, and they match up. The corresponding of the pattern will tell you what to trim these at. the nice part is that it creates this really accurate block. So then when you're putting your posy petals together, you'll have a really nice, easy piecing. So we line up outer edge. I've trimmed that one already, so I'm coming in here. You'll see how much I'm actually taking off. It's just a little strip. And then I've trimmed one side of this one already, and you'll back up and use the corresponding size for the larger triangles. Follow your pattern instructions. And again, I'm just trimming off these little pieces, but they create the accuracy that you want for your block. So we're going to take these out. And we'll now created the last of the 4 pieces that I needed to create a posy that looks like this. Now we have these blocks. The idea is that we need to put the small triangle towards the center. So if we orient them like this, always putting the small triangle to the center, we will create pretty posies. You'll join together 42 of these blocks and create rows 6 across by 7 down to create this wonderful quilt called Pretty Posies. For more of our video tutorials, visit our website. Thanks for joining me today.